All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Town Council meeting for Tuesday, February 16th at 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with roll call, please.
Council members Dennison.
Here.
Droz.
Here.
Lombardo.
Here.
Schooler.
Here.
And Mayor Abel.
Here. Tonight we'll have our Pledge of Allegiance. After that, we're going to have our invocation led by Pastor Stephen Jones from Crossview Bible Church. Welcome, Pastor. So if you'll please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance and then the invocation. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, good evening, Mayor Abel, Town Council members, friends in the community, and those of you who are watching this program on Zoom tonight. I want to welcome you and ask you to bow with me in a word of prayer. High King of Heaven, we come humbly before you tonight and we give you thanks. We thank you for the ways you remind us of your presence and your power. A colorful sunrise, a starry night, the song of a quail, the smell of fresh rain. Wonderful are your works, O Lord. Our soul knows it very well. We thank you for a town that values freedom, the freedom of speech, freedom of the press, freedom to freely exercise our religion. We know these freedoms come at great cost, and so we pause right now to pray for our military and first responders who sacrifice so much for us to be here tonight. Dear God, you see all things. You know that the COVID pandemic has occupied our thoughts and prayers for almost a year now. It has taken many lives, destroyed many businesses, and disrupted all of our routines. We pray for a merciful end to the pandemic. Please comfort those who have lost loved ones and give us a collective patience and humility and kindness as we move forward. As these leaders gather tonight to make heavy and far-reaching decisions, grant them wisdom, I pray, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. We have a presentation that we're going to delay until the participants arrive. So with that, let's move to the approval of the agenda. Do we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Mayor, I'll move that we approve the agenda.
Mayor, I'll second.
All right. We have a motion and a second.
Council members Dennison.
Yes.
Droz.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Abel.
Yes. Consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are routine matters or formal documents covering previous town council instructions. Items are enacted by one motion and a second without separate discussion unless a member of the town council or town staff requests dialogue on a specific item at the beginning of the meeting. Requests for public comments on the consent agenda items should be filed with the town clerk. Could I have staff, there's quite a few of them, could I have staff go ahead and read the consent calendar items?
Be happy to do that, Mayor. Consent agenda for this evening contains number 2, waive further reading of all ordinances. Item number 3, Town Council regular meeting minutes from January 19th, as well as the meeting minutes from February 2nd as item 4. We're excited to have on the agenda the authorization to release request for proposal for engineering design services for your North Park improvement project. It's moving forward. Communication radio system conversion, allowing the town to have its own radio system for internal needs. Item number 7 is a budget amendment and contract amendment for Yucca Trail Safety Improvement Project. Item 8, MOU between the Town of Yucca Valley and San Bernardino County Public Health for the potential use of either the Yucca Valley Senior Center or the Community Center as a potential site for a vaccination clinic related to COVID that the county is tentatively planning for March. This agreement will facilitate use beyond just the March event. Item number 9 is your AB 1234 reporting requirements, and finally, item 10 is ratification of warrant registers.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, do we have anyone requesting comments on the consent agenda?
No requests that I have here.
All right. Anyone in the audience or online that would like to speak on any item just listed on the consent calendar or item? Seeing or hearing none. I do know that item 8, facility use allowing San Bernardino County Public Health, is something that several people have asked me about, wanting to make sure that we were going to perhaps at least make available our facilities for any COVID testing or immunizations and so forth, so that's great. Is there any member of the council would like to pull or have an item discussed?
No.
All right, I'll need a motion.
I'll move
A second?
that we approve.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
First by Lombardo?
Yes.
Okay. Council members Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Abel.
Yes. All right, we'll move on to our public hearing. Item number 11. Community Development Block Grant Prioritization Hearing. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. This item is an annual, as long as it's funded, an annual application for community development block grant funds that are provided at the federal level through the county's contract with the town. This year's allocation is estimated to be $127,260, and that's covering the fiscal year 2021-2022 cycle. Through the call for projects and programs, there were 3 applications provided. 2 program applications, one from the San Bernardino County Library for the Library Literacy Program for $10,000, and the second to assist Family Services Association in their senior nutrition program in an amount of $10,000. One project was the Town of Yucca Valley's Little League capital improvements. As you know, the town has a number of initiatives underway, either as part of the Tri-Valley Little League property that was acquired or the broader Brem Park area in general. Just an additional note on that, the funding for those improvements may come from a kind of a shotgun approach right now. We have a competitive Prop 68 grant application that's being drafted. We have the allocated Prop 68 that is already in place. And then depending on how those look, we may also be successful with this or may be required to use community development block grant funding. If we're successful in the competitive Prop 68 grants, then obviously these CDBG funds would be allocated to a different project that the council directs. With respect to the 2 other programs that were that had applied, as you know, the town and county have a long-standing relationship, and the county would have 2 options. One would be to apply for general partnership funds for their literacy program, or the council and the town can consider the recent $3.5 million improvements that the town funded as part of their library project to be sufficient contribution. And then secondly, similarly with the FSA, the town provides that facility, as well as you'll have upcoming another application for CDBG coronavirus funds, round 1 and round 2, that are being allocated to kitchen improvements at the senior center. And so likewise, I think there's sufficient investment in those 2 programs. So the staff recommendation is to allocate the entire CDBG funding cycle for 21-22 of $127,260 to the town's Tri-Valley project that we have. So concludes staff report. Happy to answer other questions after your public hearing, Mayor.
Very good. Very good. So this is a public hearing. This is your opportunity to go ahead and speak on this community development block grant allocation of funds. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on that requests or their comments on the funding? All right, and I don't see anyone online. If there's someone online, go ahead and speak up. All right. So seeing and hearing them, we'll bring it back to the council. Any council members' comments or motions? I like the idea that you stated that if we do get other funding, then that these funds could be possibly reallocated differently.
They may, and I guess I should say the flip side to that is if we're also not successful in the competitive Prop 68 grants, then there may be additional cycles of CDBG that would be required to complete and finish the improvements that are envisioned at Tri-Valley as well. So you'll remember there's improvements from field infrastructure, whether it's irrigation related, dugouts, fencing, and then those are relatively minor. Your more costly ones are going to be any lighting improvements that we end up doing there, or the replacement of the snack shack, as well as ADA compatible bathrooms. Those are bigger ticket items, and that would definitely require probably multiple cycles of CDBG if we're not successful on the competitive Prop 68 side.
Okay, very good, thank you.
The amount of money that was, excuse me, the CBD dollars now are not sufficient to complete the project. And so I think they would be better used at North Park to get us started there, and they'll get farther along there than they would at the Boys and Girls, at the Tri-Valley Little League project. Because was that like almost $1 million or something like that? To get
So the
fully-
council's allocated two cycles, I believe, already of CDBG funds for the North Park, plus you have residual funding from any residual funds related to the Paradise Park that were not expended. And so at this point, staff would recommend that we move toward Tri-Valley. If there's a need for additional funding for North Park, then we can address it at that time. But at this point, that's not the recommendation.
Okay, all right.
Good question, though. Do I have a motion or any further discussion?
I like the recommendation and would like to make the motion to approve the recommendations the town manager had mentioned, that was to allocate the entire 21-22 CDBG allocation of $127,260 for the Tri-Valley Little League improvements.
I will second that.
Councilmembers Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Abel.
Yes. All right, we will close the public hearing and move on to department reports. Item number 12, please.
Yes, Mayor Abel and council members, this is the Community Services Department update for fall/winter 2021. The recommendation is that the town council receive and file the report. And as you can imagine, navigating the continuing impacts of COVID-19 regulations has been an ongoing challenge to the operations of the Community Services Department. The ever-changing nature of the state and county guidelines requires flexibility and creativity in the delivery of services to the community. Adjustments to programming are ongoing due to uncertainty of regulations and guidelines. Staff is actively engaged with industry colleagues, the CDC, state, county health department representatives, and local program providers to collaborate on behalf of the community. In addition to providing this new brand of programming for the community, with COVID regulations curtailing front-facing services, department staff are utilizing this very rare opportunity to accomplish significant in-house projects that can be performed faster and more efficiently during this closure. This report is provided by the Community Services Department staff to provide an overview of the programs and activities performed by the department during the fall and winter season. And as you can tell by the staff report, we're going to have a few slides presented by the Recreation Department, and then we're going to do a deeper dive into the High Desert Nature Museum and allow them to kind of spotlight their activities for this period of time. So to kick us off, I'd like to invite our Recreation Coordinator, too, Megan Stickle, up to the podium. Welcome, Megan.
Hello. How's it going?
Good.
So for the recreation section, I specialize in special events. And obviously with COVID-19, it has definitely been a challenge, to say the least. But what we did do is we found different and fun ways to do things online. And so what we did that really worked well were our holiday community contests. And what we did there is we did a Halloween porch decorating contest, we did a Halloween virtual costume contest, a holiday porch decorating contest, and an ugly sweater contest. And out of both of those, or all of those, we had over 100 submissions from the community. Our other thing that went very well was our Veterans Virtual Tribute, which had over 190 views. And you can find that on YouTube as well as our social media pages. And our Yucca Valley Film Festival, we had 1,744 film views, 444 registered participants, and 11,632 engagements across all social media platforms. We also do a weekly newsletter that gets sent out via Constant Contact to all of our customers through our registration software. And these have not only our own projects and our lectures, but they also have fun DIYs for moms to do with their kids and outdoor activities as well. And we are also doing an Esports gaming league, which I think is so much fun. I like to participate as well. We started off with our Animal Crossing. We do it every week, and then we moved to Mario Kart. And those kids are competitive, let me tell you. And we do it once a month, and it seems like every month we do it, we get about 4 new participants each month, so it's gaining in popularity. And we sent out a survey to the customers for our gaming league, and they want 2 more games added, so we're going to start doing that in March, and we're going to run until the beginning of summer when we can come and revisit it. The seniors at the Senior Center also get a newsletter quarterly, and we also do holiday gift programs for them as well. And like Sue said, because we have a lot of time that we don't get to spend with our customers doing events and classes, this has given us an opportunity to look for a new registration software. It takes a lot of time and work to find a new software, and we did a lot of search to find the right fit, and we did find one after months of looking. And we started implementing that, and we will have it up and going live on April 12th, and we're super, super excited for that. And that's it for me. So I would like to introduce our Recreation Coordinator 1, Jessica Kuna.
Hello, I'm here to talk to you about some of the events and programs we've done here at the Community Services Department. So the first one is the FSA County Food Distribution Program. So the rec staff provides traffic setup and traffic control for the weekly food distribution, which on average, we average about 200 customers per week. And that doesn't include homebound meals, so that's another 100 that go directly to people's apartments, houses, and stuff like that. So we love helping out with this program. It's super beneficial to our seniors. And it's an opportunity for us, too, to see the seniors when we usually see them in the senior center, and we usually see them all the time. So it's good to see their faces and to talk to them a little bit. So the other event we did was Mara's Christmas Wish. So we helped out with that. It was a really big event. So it was a drive-through event. So all the recreation department, most of the facility staff, and police officers helped to make this event possible. So we coordinated all traffic flow and road closure signs, cones and A-frame signage and all that. It was definitely a success, and we were able to help a lot of families, so we were really proud of that event. The next one is the completion of the CARES Act purchases. So we were able to get funds through the CARES Act. So we developed purchase recommendations, sourced manufacturers, made purchases of COVID equipment, and completed documentation with a pretty accelerated time frame. So when we have all these things, it'll make it easier to have COVID compliant events and programs in the future. So it's going to help us out a lot. So the next one is the Community Development Block Grant. So the staff is currently working with the Community Development and Finance departments on plans for the Senior Center kitchen renovation. So we had county come down, do consultations on the kitchens at the Senior Center and other locations as well. So we were able to talk to them and see what changes are necessary, and just to give us their recommendations. So we're excited to see the upgrade to the kitchen, especially in the Senior Center, because it benefits so many seniors in the community. And then the last bullet point on here is the Tri-Valley Little League Park. So staff is working with the Parks Department to complete the onboarding of this park, so including prioritizing improvements, planning cleanup, renovation efforts, and preparing for user groups. So yeah, the Parks Department and Community Services is working hard to renovate this park. We want to be able to provide a great space for the community to use. So that's it for me. So the next slide, I'll have Clayton, another recreation coordinator, come up and present the next slide.
Hello. We've got Mayor, Council, we have, next slide. There we go. Department has also been working on some grants through Prop 68, the same prop that funded the Aquatics and Recreation Center. We currently have 2 efforts going on, grant applications for a skate park and community center skate park replacement and community center update, or community center park update. And then the bigger project is the Brem Sports Complex expansion project. This has been months of planning and work. We have 3 ways to participate. The park planning kit, which I believe everyone's received. 5 virtual park talk engagements. We've completed 4 of those, and the final one that takes a deeper dive into all the feedback we've gotten so far, and we're going to kind of boil everything down and really get into the nitty-gritty and provide all that information to our grant writer for this application. And then the advertising, social media outreach, we've been advertising on Z1077, High Desert Star, Facebook, our social media pages. We've put a lot of work into this one, and we've been working with our grant writer. It should all be wrapped up middle of next month, and we should have answers by, I believe, August or September. Yeah, and then researching other grant programs, other grant opportunities. The SPP grant will be wrapping up over the course of the next few months, and there are a few others coming out, rural resort tourism and some other opportunities through Prop 68 for Parks and Recreation. So I'll pass this one on to the museum.
Okay, hello. It's so nice to see people in person. I haven't done that for a while, so I'm really thrilled. So the museum, of course, like everybody else, we do not see that many people in person currently. But we've done a lot of outreach during this time. So the museum initiated a lecture collaborative with several other institutions, the La Quinta Museum down below, the La Quinta Historical Society, Coachella Valley Historical Museum, and our local historical society, and we offer a once-a-month Zoom lecture. And we had subject matters anywhere from architecture to nature to the Elves lecture was very holiday-related. We have the next one coming up on Thursday. It's The Desert is Not Deserted. So we have actually between 40 and over 80 participants. So it's very popular, and we actually get to meet people from down below, and the down below people actually see what the High Desert Nature Museum does. So we have expanded our audience by that quite a bit. And it was firstly just intended because we all thought COVID was going to be over soon. So it was supposed to be just through the end of 2020, but now we are at least going to go with this through the summer of 2021 and see where we're at that point, if we even want to expand that further. We are also really busy on social media. So the museum has, through all its outreach and programs, a really, really good social media reach. So I put a little snapshot on there. So for that 1 month, we got over 24,000 people that we reached. We get a lot of interaction. We got a lot of comments. People ask questions. So we actually really reach people through social media. And thank goodness we have Charlie and Vanessa who are really good with this. I'm not. So we have produced a calendar with holidays, or their fun holidays, like there's a National Fun at Work Day, we had International Squirrel Appreciation Day, and people are really like these things, so we get a lot of comments on this, and we beat the Joshua Tree National Park on Squirrel Appreciation Day. We got there first. So, and so yeah, it's a really great way to reach out to people, and it's really rewarding to see people actually responding to it and giving us their comments on it. We are also offering other programs on Zoom. So we did a live crafts on Zoom, seasonally right before the holidays, and we had 15 live participants, and it was 50-50 grown-ups and adults. So obviously the grown-ups are also quite desperate to do something, and we get to meet a whole bunch of pets, and it was really lovely to see pictures of the products afterwards, so I posted a few there. So the two girls who have always been in our summer camps and whatnot, we're very traditionally Christmassy, but in the upper right you see one of our volunteers, artists who came up with something very different than holiday themed. But yeah, it was really nice to see some of our people that we hadn't seen in, at that point, 9 months? And the other thing we're doing, this is, we partnered, or we were invited to partner for the San Bernardino County Museum. That's our second invite for partnership. The first one was the Virtual Science Spectacular, where we provided a video, and they go on live Facebook and on Zoom, where you can watch all these videos. This time they also gave us activity bags that we added things to that are very particular to the High Desert Nature Museum. We gave away 30 bags, and if Jessica does a little video work. So this is a little video that the museum submitted. It's not working. Yeah. Doesn't matter. You can actually, I think you can still go to the San Bernardino County Museum Facebook, and you can probably still see it. But it's the second time where I produced a video with the animals, our live animal collection in the museum. So this one is actually all about a scorpion doing, all the things a scorpion does. And so it's actually home decorating, showing off, eating. So it's been pretty cute. The first one for Halloween was cockroach hatching, which was awesome. It was amazing. So anyhow, this is one of the things we got to see people when these activity bags were given out. And it's been lovely to see people. So we did it on Wednesday. On Thursday last week, we had 5 left over after Wednesday, so people were right on it. And the only outreach we did was through Facebook, and actually worked really well to get these bags out. It's in my power, right? Try again. All right. So, of course, since we are a museum, exhibits are a big thing for us. And since last year, spring, when we had to put the Reduce, Reuse, Recycle exhibit online in a flash, we try to do as much online as we can on exhibits. So we actually co-curated with Exhibit Envoy and the Palm Springs Air Museum this exhibit that's called War Comes Home and Letters from the Archive, where members from the community read out loud letters that were written by people from the war. It was the War Comes Home were letters all the way from the Civil War through the war in Afghanistan, and Letters from the Archive was from World War I through Afghanistan. And it was very impactful to have people actually read those letters written by people that are actually in the war. And this was also in cahoots with Veterans Day, so it worked out really well. And over the whole time, we had 820 views online, which is just about the same, or maybe even a little bit more than what we would have gotten in person. So we were very excited about that. And then we decided, okay, if people are actually going for online exhibits, we're going to start another one on February 21st, we're going to open online Stitch in California. And this is an exhibit that has art quilts made from really gifted quilters. And it's all concerning California. It's nature, it's politics, it's indigenous people, everything you can think about in California, and these quilts are amazing. So the online exhibit shows the quilts. It also has a music playlist, so you can watch the exhibit and listen to California-related music, which is, if you're from the 70s, there were a lot of 70s California songs. I didn't know that. So anyhow, it's pretty funny. There's a puzzle, there's activities, and we partnered for this exhibit with 2 local organizations. One is Kim's Fabric Outlet that used to be on the other side of the highway. It's now an online business. And the Cactus Sobel's Quilt Guild. And we're also going to have a meeting with the Quilt Guild tomorrow to see if we can get some more interactive programs going with them. So I hope you're going to check it out. So it's going to be on the 21st, that's a Sunday. And it's actually a really cool exhibit to look at online. We had thought about to rent that exhibit as a physical exhibit, but since it's art, our museum did not qualify for the high security standards. So it was actually kind of a benefit there that people can see these amazing quilts, if not in person, but at least online. And we're also doing things in-house. We're working on several new exhibits. Since we did our big remodel, we now have a cultural history wing and a natural history wing. And the cultural history wing, we're now developing an exhibit about Yucca Valley through history, which starts with the first white settlers coming here all the way through the town of Yucca Valley Incorporation in 1991. And you see on the right what these panels would look like. If you remember in the museum, there's 2 big cases, so there's going to be some artifacts and about 6 of these panels that guide you through history and mentioning several of the people that were very influential in making Yucca Valley what it is. And by the way, does anybody here know what Yucca Valley was called first before it was Yucca Valley? Say it again? No, Lone Star.
Lone Star.
Oh, man. Yeah, you know, when this exhibit is up, you have to come over and look at it. The final installment is going to be in May, and hopefully in the summer we can open and you can actually look at it in person. We're really hoping for that. The other thing is the museum in the natural history wing, we have a large collection of insects. So we have insects that are pinned, we have insects that are preserved in alcohol, and when we redid everything, we put up some pretty simple panels, which I, as a biologist, thought were incredibly informative and amazing, but the public was rather bored, weirdly enough. So we, in our partnership with the California State University San Bernardino, we had a partnership with a teacher there, and the students gave some really, really good input in how to go about making this exhibit more enticing to the general public. And sadly, due to COVID, the students never had a chance to come actually up. So we got a lot of good ideas. None of them could finish the project since we were closed. But what you see on that pinboard is what it looks like when you really try to wrap your head around what you want to tell people that they really might find interesting. So by March, end of March, hopefully we're going to have the first write-ups and do a test run with some of our museum members and some interest groups to see if that's something I think people would really like to learn about. Insects, I love everything about insects, so. But I'm gonna really go for what the majority of people hopefully will like. So this is kind of what it looks like before it becomes a real exhibit. Gives you a little bit of an idea. We're also still working on the California Humanities grant. So we were approached by Cal Humanities towards the end of last year. They actually recommended an extension because to finish the grant, there is an evaluation period, and if you can't have people in to look at an exhibit, it's really hard to do an evaluation. And since we lost one of our main contributors, we had to find somebody else to help us out with the content. So our museum registrar, Vanessa, is working on that project too, to get this whole exhibit done. What you see on the left slide there is actually what it looks like on the background to come up with a page. What you see on the right side is what it would look like on the touch screen. So there is a lot of fiddling with making pages link with each other and click, because this is all going to be on a big touch screen and has to work properly. So the evaluation period is going to start in April, and if you're not going to be open to the public, we talk to Humanities if there's some online ways how to guide people, our interest group that we have established through it, and see if we can get feedback this way, because our deadline is the end of June this year. So, but we are making progress on that one too. Last one that is exhibit related is the museum actually owns about 250 individual exhibit panels, 9 complete exhibits that are right above us here. We got exhibits donated and did some in-home curation, and for the last few years, we mostly just put them in big black bags and shoveled them upstairs. So our museum assistant is now in the progress and almost done of going through all the panels, inventorying them, and properly storing them so that we have access to them. We also actually started loaning out parts and some of full exhibits to other organizations. We have a partnership with the Bureau of Land Management, the Santa Rosa Visitor Center, where we exchange parts of exhibits. We have in our natural history wing some portable exhibit panels where we have mini exhibits. So now we're going to finally have a chance to easily find our exhibit panels and use them. And in that process, Charlie, our museum assistant, actually found some exhibit panels that we didn't know we had. They must have come from the Palm Springs Desert Museum when they closed the natural history wing. I don't know if you can see that little Excel spreadsheet, but they're about Mary Beale, a very famous botanist from the Mojave Desert, and we had no idea we had those. So we'll see in Mary Beale mini exhibit in the future. And the very last thing, we're coming to the puppy and kittens page. So we also refurbish almost all of our animal enclosures. So a lot of these terrariums were several years old. They had cracked bottoms, so all of these got repaired. We redid all the backgrounds. We did some research and proper litter and animal animation things. So we are just done with having everybody in their new perfect forever home. We did some research of, what are the proper backgrounds and environments for these critters. So currently, nobody can see it but us, but it's quite lovely. And we're also working on some new signage for the critters that's a little bit more interactive, where people, can easier access what these animals are all about. And this would be it for me. So if you have any questions,
Wow.
don't hesitate.
Incredible, thank you.
Phenomenal. Great presentation, thank you. You're a
Welcome.
workhorse, doing an awful lot.
Yes, we're not bored.
And just so you know, Stephanie, bugs are not more appealing with chocolate on them.
Bugs are-
But actually, if you ever go that route, ants with pepper and chocolate, amazing. Seriously, they're good. They're good. Nothing else? All right. Then thank you very much.
Good job.
So as we move forward, planning our spring-summer season, which we'll bring to you in a few weeks, of course, our special consideration will be paid to programs that are flexible and able to comply with changing COVID regulations. And in addition, we continue to take pride in providing community service through partnering with local agencies in providing COVID relief services as we recover from all of this. So we're happy to provide you with the report and we'll be happy to answer any questions following public comment.
Very good. Anyone in the public wanting to speak on the presentation just presented by the Community Service Department? I know it's quite impressive what's being done even in this day and age of COVID and how the staff is all working together. So anyone online or here in person would like to make a comment? Yes, please come on up. State your name, place of residence.
Diana Anderson, and I'm actually the treasurer for Mars Business. And we wanted to, say thank you very much for all the support we've received this year. Obviously, it was unprecedented as to what we had to do. we have run into a situation where Gigi is not able to be here tonight. So we would like to be, if we could.
Yes.
We had a presentation that we were supposed to do this evening. We'd like to see if we could push it off to the next one. She got hung up down in Anaheim.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, we'll be glad to do that. But thank you. I know that the staff and Mara's Christmas Wish really worked closely together and was a very big undertaking, and you guys pulled it off. That was amazing,
I
so.
don't know how we did it, but you know what? By the grace of God and everybody else that
Yes.
helped us, so.
Well, wonderful.
But
Well, thank you for being here tonight, and we look forward to seeing you again when we can do the presentation and the update from Mara's Christmas
All right.
Wish.
I'll have
We'll
Gigi touch
reschedule.
and, get in touch with you guys and we'll get it rescheduled.
I'll reach out to her. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Wonderful.
much.
Thank you so much. Any other members of the public would like to speak? All right, we'll bring it back to the council. First of all, I'd like to say I hope the young staff members in the Community Service Department realize that with COVID, they've gotten an opportunity to work on and experience programs that normally wouldn't come under, Parks and Recreation programming. So this is going to be a really wonderful thing for your resume, all the different unique projects that you worked on and how you were able as a staff to overcome obstacles and how you pulled it off. So it's very valuable experience, and so that will be very much a benefit to you in the future as you go out and seek other employment and so forth. So wonderful job. Appreciate that. Yes, council member.
The town is also thankful for the youth, the younger members of the Community Services Program that have the knowledge and the skill to be able to use these remote computer skills and things, because I'm sure for me, it would have been an incredible learning experience just to figure out how to get online, to do half of what you guys have just really gone over the top with all this. I think it's awesome. You're doing a really great job, and it's a big testament to our youth with a thought and the being able to improvise and come up with a new way of doing things. It's time to change. It's good.
It was pretty exciting, actually. The other day, we did an outreach session on Facebook Live with Zoom overlaid onto it. So we had, we had 3 coordinators. Clayton looked like, he was in the space shuttle with all of his monitors, and Megan making sure, monitoring the chat room, and Jessica over there recording the whole thing so we could put it, have it, for people to watch if they wanted to do so, and Clayton and I presenting the presentation. So after that, we were so jazzed, we thought, we're just going to start making our own TV show, and we got the production thing down.
Awesome.
So it was a blast. It was very impressive.
Useful skills. That's great.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yeah, I hardly recognize the Community Services Department anymore, but I appreciate the creativity and also the outreach to the other agencies. I think it's turning a minus into a plus in a big way to take advantage of the time and the conditions to reach out to the community in a different way and to use the technology, and also to do planning and research and prep for when things, whatever normal is, gets back to that. So good job.
Yeah, it was really fun that particular day that we did that production in the afternoon. In the morning, we were out with our seniors during the food distribution, taking surveys on paper, and they can't really write very well in their car, so we were doing it verbally with them and filling out the form for them. So to go from that, to that, to the afternoon, it was a really interesting day.
Wonderful. Yes, go right ahead.
I just wanted to say thank you to the Community Services Department. And everybody takes it as a leader, it seems like. There's a lot of self-motivation happening. And the best part that I see day to day, but also highlighted in your presentation, is how well-rounded it is. There were comments about the senior center and the programming. There were talks about the youth and Animal Crossing and Mario Kart that want to get in, that have kind of had to change their life too because of lack of school and those types of activities. So it keeps them occupied and engaged with others. And then right in the middle, we have all these social things, that are all artsy craftsy, or they're virtual sports events, I have to say, Sue, you said it earlier, creative programming. And that's what it was, is creativity. I think every bit of our community has been touched and had an opportunity to be engaged if they felt like they were kind of displaced somehow from what normal was. They have an opportunity to at least engage. And, talking about the Veterans Tribute and bringing all kinds of people into this and giving them a place to focus on. And when you look at your calendar of events, what's just happened in like 2 months is crazy. There's all kinds of things. And then you come on here with the rebirth of the museum and bringing up items that you didn't even know you had. And I remember some of those displays 25 years ago that were starting to show their age, and now to hear that they've been brought back to life again and brought into the forefront is just great news. So thank you, everybody, for your efforts. It's amazing. It's just kind of overwhelming, really, just hear how much happened. So thank you to you and your entire staff.
Good news.
Very good, yeah. And in the future, you may be finding out that, when we get back to in-person experiences, that you may still want to incorporate the virtual experience as well, because people from all over the country can experience maybe, a program that their grandchildren are involved in, or, exhibits and so forth. So you may add another layer and element in the future that we are back to in-person experiences, but then the virtual experience can also be had by others that maybe can't get out of their homes and come down. So, maybe something that will morph into something even bigger and better. So, any other comments? All right. We'll receive and file the report, and thank you, Community Services and all the wonderful staff that puts it all together. So thank you. One of the mentions during the Community Service Department was the collaboration and the working with Mara's Christmas Wish program, which was highly successful and has been just a wonderful blessing to the community since Mara developed that years and years ago. And I see that Gigi has arrived, and she has her volunteer staff with her as well. So if you'd like to come up and do a presentation, we'd like to go ahead and hear that tonight on Mara's Christmas update.
Welcome.
May I take this?
Yeah, you can take that. No.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sorry about that. First of all, Mara Christmas Wish was very well successful last year with technology. Okay, very went well. We have, let me show you some pictures. If I figure it out, yay. We started on Friday. As you see, we have a lot of toys, sorting out, separating them by age specific and gender. And the firefighters, they'd raised again a really large amount of funds to buy some toys for us. As you see, on Friday, probably around 11 or 10, we still have a lot of toys. As you see on the other side, pink and blue, girls and boys, of course. We use two rooms to sort it out, and the finished products is on the other side. It's a lot of work, but we're so happy with the firefighters helping us out sorting and collecting the toys. This is on our event day. As you see, we have our driveway, our drive-through. It's on the other side. We have 4 lanes. We have a lot of people. We have a little adjustment because this is our first time doing the drive-through. So at first, we got lost a little bit with tracks and how to really make everything systematic. And then after a few minutes, everything went smoothly. And by the way, before I forget, the town staff, Jessica and everybody, they did amazing, amazing job. So thank you so much for having them help us. So thank you. And the firefighters is in charge with 2 lanes and the other side, so we have 4 lanes. The other side are the volunteers. So we're basically working back to back together. So each lane we have approximately 6 volunteers to do get the information, how many people are in there, in the family households. We also have, the first hour, we give out 42 turkey, which is less than 30 minutes, it's already sold out or gone. And the rest, after that, we end up giving approximately 1,619 gift cards, total people we end up giving out. And then, look, as you see, all the drive-through, oh, it was amazing. It's a lot of people came, drive by. Where's the fight, Melissa? If you know Melissa, the police station, oh gosh, hi. So Melissa, thank you. Melissa helped us organize the drive-through, the parking lot at Dollar or grocery outlet. It was some of it. We have Rash, as you see on the bottom side. We have people lining up there so they can go in the opposite side again, turning around. But we're not closing the whole area over there on the T section. So we're not blocking it. So she did amazing job on that one, as you see. It's a lot of firefighters. Luckily, there's no call, thank goodness. So then we have 8 firefighters who really helped us on that day, which is amazing. And here's Dave, one of them. And this is what it looks like after the event.
Wow.
See, as you see, it's almost gone. So by Saturday, 11:46, the toys are gone. Approximately, we double our toys or bags given out this year. So we're happy to see that. And a little sad because there is a family that do need some help. So approximately, we give out 618 bags of toys this year, so it got doubled. And we also end up giving some toys to Unity Home. And any remaining gift cards that we also have, approximately, in the amount is 1,020. We also give out the leftover gift cards to Mongol Basin Health District as well. So it's a blessing that goes around. I strongly believe on that. So we end up giving them that as well. This is the after, at the very end, what we did, and we do have a lot of couple generous donors that help us this year as well. And some of you up here as well also donated to us, so thank you so much. And also the Mr. Dwight, we want to say thank you for everything. You've been supporting us. It's been a blessing, and it's my pleasure also to serve the community as well, and also my board. But if you have any questions, please let me know. I also have my board members up here. Maybe they have other input as well.
Yes, if you could have your board members come forward. I know that one board member mentioned you were the treasurer, so come up and introduce yourself by name, please. We'd like to recognize you as well, both of you.
Thanks. I'm Christy Anderson, and I'm currently just board member at large.
And how many years have you been involved with Mara's Christmas?
The
last 3 years?
The previous years, myself and Diane were in charge of decorating for the last 2.
Uh-huh.
And so this one was really a change and a challenge.
Yeah, I bet.
Just to lose all that time that we would spend decorating this room alone. It's pretty amazing.
Well, thank you for your volunteering and your helping. And your other board member?
I'm Diana Anderson. I'm the treasurer for the board, and I've been involved for 3 years. About 8 years ago, we actually had volunteered and brought our kids. We have 2 children, and we brought them and made them volunteer for Christmas morning. And it was one of the things that we really enjoyed doing. So it was apropos to just be able to do this again.
What a wonderful, and how old are your children?
Now, they're 27 and 30.
Oh, okay. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate it. Are there any members of the public have a comment on our presentation tonight? Well, I do know that all the people who would speak highly and thank you there are thousands of people. Mara had a vision. Mara's vision continues on. I know that Gigi will be the first to say that she could never do this by herself. It's just an overwhelming job. Like you said afterwards, you have no idea how you were able to do it afterwards, like multiple people helping and so on, and the community really, really appreciates it. As you know, firsthand experience, there are many, many people that don't have the financial means that some of us are blessed with. And the acts of love and kindness sometimes can be fleeting in this society. And when people like you reach out and through actions, not just words, actions, reach out to others that could maybe never repay you, it is a blessing. And to share that with your children is commendable as well. So we really, really appreciate it. I know, Gigi, you've been involved with Mara's Christmas for probably 15 years now, and you were taking sort of the leadership role for the last 3 after Mara's passing. So we would like to recognize you tonight, and any council members who would like to make a comment can definitely do so, but I'd like to read this to you tonight. This is a certificate of appreciation. I understand you're going to be stepping down from that leadership role. So this goes to Gigi for her outstanding display of leadership, compassion, and an unwavering commitment to the community in continuing the legacy of Mara. By presenting Mara's Christmas wish, this is presented to you by Merle R. Abel, the mayor of the town of Yucca Valley, and of course, the town council, the entire community, and our staff. So thank you so very much. We'd like to give you a round of applause and a little gift for you tonight.
Oh, whoever.
You surprised us. We didn't think we were going to make it.
I know, I'm so
I know
sorry.
3 years can feel like 30 years,
Yeah.
so congratulations and thank you so very much.
Thank you so much.
There we go.
For this. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Good job.
And thank you again so much for supporting us. I really appreciate all of you for sticking up with me, even I don't have any experience, but I really do appreciate it and enjoy working with you too. And belated Happy Valentine's Day. Love. Bye.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it again. So as you've heard, there's a leadership position. Hopefully the Mara's Christmas volunteers and so forth are working on filling that void, because it's a wonderful program that we were afraid could go away after Mara's passing. And because of people's giving of self, it was able to continue. So we hope that that will continue, because as you heard, it's a very big undertaking and we have a very small staff. So we need a lot of volunteers and leadership from outside the area to be able to continue the program. All right, we will move on. Thank you. We'll move on to item number 13, department report on Prop 68.
Yes, Mayor Abel and council members, this item is the Prop 68 Statewide Park Development and Community Revitalization Program grant application and authorizing resolution for the Brent Parks Sports Complex Expansion Project. And the recommendation is that the town council adopt the resolution approving the filing of a Round 4 project application for the Statewide Park Development and Community Revitalization Program, Brent Park Sports Complex Expansion Project, and delegates the authority to the town manager or designee to conduct all negotiations, sign and submit all documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, amendments, and payment requests, which may be necessary for the completion of the grant scope and other administrative tasks included in the resolution. The prior review of the town council, this is sort of a housekeeping item. This is the competitive grant applications for Prop 68. As you know, we have a dedicated grant through Prop 68 for the Aquatics and Recreation Center, but we also have the opportunity to apply for additional funds through a competitive process. If you recall, back in round 3, we submitted an application in August of 2019 for the Yucca Valley Community and Skate Park Renovation Project. Unfortunately, we were not approved for funding for that project. So there was another round, so this is the last round for this particular competitive program. So the council did pass Resolution 2056 in October of last year to resubmit the skate park renovation project application. So that is underway. We want to let you know that we are making some modifications. We're doing a little bit of outreach to sort of just kind of firm up everyone's wants and needs. And so we will be submitting that for round 4. It's due March 12th. Another round 4 application, we are applying for the Brent Park Sports Complex Expansion Project, which Clayton provided details for a little while ago. The original project name for this application was the Tri-Valley Little League Park Revitalization Project. That resolution was passed by the council back in October as well. We are underway with the application and working with our grant writer, but we are submitting this name change for this application because after you approved the resolution for the Tri-Valley Little League Park project, subsequently the scope of the project was expanded to include the surrounding park area, including Brent Park. Therefore, an updated resolution identifying the new project name is needed to accompany the grant application. So as you know, we originally wanted approval to apply for the Tri-Valley Little League Park as the hub for baseball and softball in Yucca Valley, and certainly upgrading and rebuilding that facility meets the needs outlined in the Parks Master Plan update of 2018. In addition, improvements and additional features at Brent Park are listed in the plan as priority of high status, and multiple sections of the Parks Master Plan update. And it mentions the Brent Park facility and lists it as an important component of a recreational hub complex for the community. So review of the grant criteria and taking a quick look at the round 3 projects that were awarded, there was an opportunity for an expanded project encompassing improvements to Brent Park, Tri-Valley Little League, and also the surrounding area, hence the renaming of the grant application project. Due to COVID-19, the submission deadline for round 4 was extended from the end of December to March. So to ensure success in meeting this deadline, we have engaged a professional grant consultant, California Consulting Incorporated, to assist us in the required public outreach that Clayton described and the preparation of the grant application itself. So that concludes the staff report. What we're looking for is, certainly it's a pretty straightforward request to rename this project to incorporate the widening of the scope of the project. And that concludes the staff report. I'd be happy to answer any questions after public comment.
Mayor, if I might just add just a couple of comments. Thank you, Sue, for that comprehensive review. A couple of things that come to mind. For those that are unaware of the Prop 68 competitive grant process, there is a limit, a cap on the grant amount. I think the total cap this year is at $8 million, $8.5 million that you can apply for in total. So one of the thoughts that staff had as we worked through this is whether you're applying for $1 million grant, $500,000, or $8.5, it's still all the same work. So when we took a step back and said, what can we do to make the grant application as meaningful to the town, number one. Number two, address deficiencies or things that we think that can be added to make it more competitive. And then number three, just to leverage the amount of staff work. As you see from the report that Clayton gave and then that Sue's comments for this evening, the outreach that's required in all of these different application processes is significant. And so we just want to make sure that the end goal is, as you know in your recreation master plan, is to have a recreational hub that has a lot of amenities, that's finished, that has a fine look. That's something that the community can be proud of, not only currently, but in years to come. And so we'll get there. The more grant dollars we have, the better for the town. In the absence of that, we'll have to find other funding, but it'll happen. So we're pretty excited about that, and hopefully that, these things are always very competitive. Lastly, there is no limit to the number of applications that an entity can provide, so that's why we decided to address the shortcomings in our round 3 application on the skate park, resubmit that, as well as develop this last application.
Wonderful. Yes, we have public comment. Anyone who would like to make a public comment on the Prop 68 statewide development grant application process? All right, we have some questions we'll bring it back. We have some questions from the council. Councilmember Lombardo.
Do we know how close our skate park was to being accepted? Do they rank them at all, or is there any way to tell where we fell short in the application so that we can improve it on the next one?
Yes. They don't rank the applications. However, they will. We have an after-action meeting with our state representative and our grant consultant. So we were able to go through the application, and he would provide feedback. It's a point system. So he would provide feedback on where we scored the max points and where certain areas where we didn't reach the max points. So we can see where the weaknesses are. Some of them are solvable and some of them aren't.
Are not solvable?
Yeah.
Okay. But they give you a combined score. Do they tell you the score on your application? Like they say you scored an 87 and then they funded everything up to 90.
Yeah,
from
they don't.
100 to 90, they funded, but they didn't fund things below 90 points.
They didn't
Did they
quite
do anything
provide
like
that level of detail. They just went through our application and said, okay, there's 20 points available for this particular
we got only
answer.
15 or
And yeah, and you got this, and so here's where you fell short and didn't get the full points for that particular.
I see. So we can concentrate on how to get those last few points in certain areas, add them together, and
That's the goal, is to try to shore up the areas where perhaps we didn't get all the points that were possible, where we're able to. In some cases, we're not
You say
able.
some things we can't qualify for, but
Sure, if it's a demographics or, if there's, some geography that we can't solve or something like that, so some areas we're able to improve, so we want to do that. And then others, sometimes you can't.
thank you for your efforts on that.
No, thanks.
I have a couple questions, but anyone else can jump in at any time. The grant writer, has the grant writer been successful in the past for us, this particular grant writer?
Actually, this Prop 68 is the first time I've worked with contract
Grant writing?
grant writing for park projects. So, they've,
So obviously, we hired them because they have a good track record, obviously, right? So I just didn't know if, so far they missed it, but I didn't know if we had a track record with this particular grant writer.
we don't have a track record. We go on recommendations from
Yeah.
other cities. So, we definitely reached out to our colleagues and said, well, who do you guys use? And, who do you prefer? On this competitive round, since we have the Brent project as well, we're using 2 different firms. So the original firm, Blaze & Associates, that did the original skate park application, we went back to them and, to revisit the application. They were able to make it very cost-effective to resubmit and make the changes and resubmit, so that seemed pretty obvious. And then we're working with a different firm for the Brem application, the sports complex.
Yeah, I was a little concerned when you talked about widening the scope of the grant that you're asking for. Like, we didn't get this one, now we're making it even bigger. But apparently, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, it's because by widening it, we can actually include things that would help us in the possibility of getting monies. So we get more points because we're adding projects that weren't maybe listed in the first or the third round. And then my other comment or concern is that you were stating it's unlimited as far as the amount of times you can apply. So I'm wondering if Culver City received the grants in round 1, 2, or 3, they got monies. Can they sit there and turn around and throw out another one on us? And do they take that into the point system that here's a community that already received grant money, and this community, small community in the desert, didn't? Does that help us in points there? So I'm wondering if they include that in their point system, because it wouldn't seem fair that you got a dynamic grant writer in Culver City and they end up getting more money after they've already received some funding earlier rounds.
They haven't said that they consider that. They have a point system that they say that they adhere to. So each application is considered individually, and how it fits the criteria that the state has developed. So.
Well, I'm proud that staff is going after grant dollars. I mean, we obviously need as much money as we can, and we're blessed with the Prop 68 monies and so forth, the things, I mean, the monies that we've received before for the state bill, but yeah, to try to go after additional monies to really complete the project and to widen the scope of what's going to be in that center is really great. So I don't want us to give up on the process. I just want to make sure that, you know, we keep firing our guns and using the best person for hire as we can.
Yes.
Councilmember Rhodes.
Really quick, the amount you're asking for, do they ever approve it for a lesser amount, or is it only like that amount and that's it?
No, my understanding is that they will, I mean, their preference is to fully fund the project, but they will come back to the city and ask them to reevaluate, or perhaps partially fund a certain area. The grant writer that we're using for the Brem Sports Complex has been a very successful grant writer, but, you know, there's a criteria, and, you know, it's how well do you fit that, that criteria that the state has set out. But it was her recommendation to expand the project because of our demographics are, you know, match closely what they're looking for. You know, there's other pitfalls, but we're trying to make sure we, you know, hit the bullseye if we can.
Thank you.
And the information that we glean from the public outreach is very valuable for our department because we find, you know, it's also can be a driver for our programming too, because we're really trying to address some of the health issues that exist in the community. So we collected the data on that, and now it can really guide our programming. Now that we know that you know, what's preventing people from living a healthier lifestyle, or what are the diseases that are prevalent in this area, you know, and how can we help our customers, you know, how can we provide more activities for them that'll help them lead a healthier life? So, you know, regardless of the grant outcome, the data we collect is so important for us. It's just very valuable.
Has the community response to your outreach been good? Mm-hmm. Been at a high level? Does that helps our application as well, right? When a lot of people respond and show interest in the project.
Yeah, our consultant said we're hitting it out of the park on the engagement side. So that's encouraging, especially in this environment, because we're used to getting everyone in a room and, you know, having a get-together and talking about things. So the survey's very popular. We have over 200 responses on the Brem survey and nearly over 300 on the skate park survey. So our community is, they really want to be engaged. So that helps. It does kind of hurt a little bit to do everything virtually. That's a little tougher because
But everybody's suffering that, so.
Yes, exactly. But they're still trying to be helpful, and like I said, the information is very valuable to us, just on a recreation programming side.
Sure. Good job.
All right, if there are no other questions, I'm looking for a motion or any other questions or comments. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that Assemblyman Mays, I'm glad that you're keeping in touch with our state representative, that you're working together as a team. He is our representative. He's been successful in helping our community to move forward with projects that we have. And this community does have some great opportunities for expansion. You know, you mentioned earlier about planning. Well, our strategic plan proves to be very valuable as a roadmap. Part of the grant process is to show that we are working towards having shovel-ready projects that the state would feel confident in funding. And I want our state to know that we work diligently, I know the staff does, to make sure that that is the situation, that we're ready and prepared to move forward and know our priorities. And identifying in there that we have looked at the expansion of parks as opposed to developing new parks. We have a park in the Brent facility that is highly used in our area. It's a multifaceted complex that benefits young and old to support healthy lifestyles. And if you go there on a normal year, it's a little bit different now, but we are coming back with the work from the state, of course. We see that it is a benefit to the community. There's the kids just running wild over there. They're having a great time. They're playing soccer, they're playing ball, they're playing basketball. We got the Miracle Lead field over there. We've got this complex that entertains and allows participation at all levels, at all ages. So I'm encouraged by what you've been saying and how we're working. Don't give up on this round. The fourth round is really, we've worked hard. I think that from what you've talked about, we have a great opportunity here. And I do love the idea of the skate park also being refreshed and brought up to current desires for our skaters in the community. You know, ours has been very heavily used. It's wore out. It really is. And but the Brent Park project, the complex, means a lot to everyone in the community. It does me too. I like going over there sometimes and just, watching a Little League game or, whatever's going on. So thank you for sticking with it. It's been a long road. It's been going on for quite some time. And this one's March 21st, I believe, is when they'll be submitted, so we'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But I just want to say thank you to the entire staff for your hard work and keeping us going. And I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and approve the recommendation for item number 13.
Very good. We have a motion for the resolution 21-05. Do I have a second?
Second.
And council members, Mayor Pro Tem Schooler seconded.
Councilmembers Dennison,
Yes.
Droz,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Abel.
Yes. I notice on this resolution that our town attorney needs to sign this, so I'd like to make sure that he doesn't miss the deadline there on signing this. All right, well, thank you. That's really great. We'll keep our fingers crossed that we'll be able to get that grant approved, and that'll be great for their community. All right, we'll move on to item number 14, Public Health and Welfare Update, COVID-19.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. You've seen this update a number of different times throughout this process, so you don't bring them forward unless there's some significant movement or change, and I think we are seeing some of that, so I wanted to just highlight a few things this evening. In summary, I think you'll see that statewide numbers are improving rapidly, and I think according to the governor today, many counties are expected to reopen soon. That was, I think, his quote, soon. What that means, I'm not sure, but you'll see in the numbers here that San Bernardino County may be included in that. So, as you'll recall, on January 25th, California lifted the stay-at-home order. That meant that we just transitioned back into the colored tier system. San Bernardino County was in the purple tier with widespread outbreaks still. But you'll see in a couple of slides here that the numbers seem to be turning the corner and moving in the right direction. We're at purple and moving hopefully to red soon, maybe this week or next week, and then eventually going further across. As the color code for the different tiers are identified, there's different restrictions that you have. When you're in widespread purple, as we are now, almost all of your non-essential indoor businesses and operations are closed as the state defines essential. Couple of updates at the state level. We are already identified the stay-at-home order has been lifted pursuant to some legal action and direction out of the Supreme Court. New guidance at the state level was provided about a week ago for houses of worship that allowed for some in-person worship as opposed to outdoor only. You'll see at the end here, we'll talk a little bit about vaccination. That seems to be where the state focus is now, making sure that that infrastructure is in place so that as supplies ramp up on the vaccine level, they're able to get those distributed as efficiently as possible. And then work continues. The governor indicated today that work is slow going. I think, I can't remember the adjective he used, something like challenging on the school front. In other words, there was still quite a bit of work that had to be done to be able to give guidance that all of the different stakeholders, whether that's school districts, unions, et cetera, would be able to move forward and open up schools, at least at the K through 6 level. And then similarly, there was a hashtag group, Let Them Play, that's been trying to work with the governor on getting some scholastic sport programs moved forward. Left a couple of slides in here from previous discussions, just so you can see the flow of the graphs. So these are recent statistics, hospital census. This was as of your last update on December 15th. That was about when the stay-at-home order was in place and we were reaching our peak. Since that time, we've come down. So this is as of today's graph. We've hit that peak and have come down pretty significantly moving into February. Similarly, on the dashboard, this was your last slide in December. All of the metrics were up heavily into the purple. And then as of today, these are coming down, some faster than others on the positivity rate, almost into the red tier. Back to where we were, and then on the other metrics going down pretty significantly as well. Interestingly, they do not attribute this yet to vaccines. They don't really know what to attribute the decrease, the rapid decrease. Some say the adherence to masking has been more widely used. And social distancing. Others say that after the Thanksgiving and a holiday and New Year's events, there's fewer events, so fewer possibilities for infection. But you can read into that whatever you wish. Town data, September 14th, we were very low back then. We were in the yellow, minimal risk, and that was really the case since the outbreak began in the spring of 2020. We peaked in December. Went from yellow to purple. The numbers there on the right-hand side, 38 cases a day. This is specific to Yucca Valley. And then as of today, dropping down, going down, not quite where we were at for sure in early fall or late summer. For those that are interested in getting tested, Mongol Basin Community Health Center is still a place to get tested here in Yucca Valley. They have changed it again, Mondays and Wednesdays from 1 to 3, and an appointment is required to be tested. It's drive-through testing. I went to that event, I can't remember, maybe right before the end of the calendar year, and it was slow, let's just put it that way. So if you have the choice, I think the 29 Palms, even though it's a little bit more of a drive, is much more efficient, as well as the test results seem to come back a little bit faster. We've had some staff that had been tested out at the 29 and then reported to other medical facilities, and they've asked where the test was done at, and that a vendor that the county is using, I think it's Fulgent, out at 29 is very, very highly regarded. So a great opportunity, and we would remind folks that if they need any transportation to the testing site, we do have an agreement with Mongol Basin Transit Authority that will assist people in getting out there, and then the town will assist in making that possible at no cost to residents. I want to spend just a couple of slides on the vaccination. So that's really where the focus is at now. So this is from the county's site, website. I think I have one at the end that will show you the title slide of the county's site. But on the left-hand side there, each of those is a pull-down menu that will tell you exactly what's in phase 1A, 1B, 1C, phase 2. So you can see on the left there that they are in phase 1A. This is 65 plus. They've made it through all 3 tiers. We'll go over those in a second. as well as Tier 1 into Phase 1B. So Tier 1 is all of those, really mostly your healthcare workers, as well as 65 plus. So those are available to make appointments now at county vaccination clinics. In addition to the county, it's our understanding that the federal government is making additional resources available to some of the drugstores, whether it's CVS or Walgreens, and they have their own system for taking appointments, but the tiering is supposed to be similar to this. Phase 1B, Tier 1 and 2, emergency services, educators, both of those have just recently started to be vaccinated or being able to be vaccinated. Tier 2, you can see there, transportation, logistics, industrial, residential, commercial sectors, critical manufacturing, incarcerated individuals, homeless and unhoused in Phase 1B, Tier 1 and 2. By the way, I think your government workers are in Phase 1C, so aside from police and fire. So we still got a little ways to go. Vaccination data, this slide will be interesting. This is the first one that the county has put up. So as you see in future updates, I'll make sure that we include this first slide. But you can see it's going to ramp up. Really, it's still a demand is outpacing supply. That's anticipated to kind of cross over sometime in late March or April, where supplies will catch up, and I think a good portion of the folks that want to get vaccinated will be able to. Always have this slide on there. I think that continues. And lastly, this is the primary slide that we would invite folks to pay attention to. This is sbcovid19.com. If you go there, you can see you have tabs for COVID testing sites. You click on that, you'll be able to make an appointment for testing. You click on the one for COVID-19 vaccine information, and you can make appointments for vaccination. Obviously, supplies are limited, so if you go on there right now, you may or may not be able to make an appointment depending on your age and what tier you're in, and quite frankly, the level of supply that the county has, which varies from week to week. So, but this is the best place to get information. Obviously, the county public health department is responsible for implementing the vaccination programs. The city is not, or the town is not, and so that's where we would direct folks. But if you forget, you can always come to yucca-valley.org, and we'll have links on there for where to go to get that same information. Well, that concludes the update. One thing I forgot to mention is earlier in your agenda this evening, you approved an agreement with the county. The county is desiring to hold a vaccination clinic for what they refer to as known seniors. And so these would be seniors that they have on record that participate in the town's meal program through FSA or through the Department of Aging and Adult Services, others that they may be in touch with through your senior housing development across the street. So they wanted to make it as convenient as possible and reach out to those seniors that they are aware of. And then likewise, we'll ensure that we get the word out that folks that are interested in going to the CMC vaccination clinic when those appointments are available, if they have transportation issues, we would be able to extend the same agreement that we have with MBTA for testing. We would make that available for vaccination as well. That's a minimal cost to the town. We'd be happy to do that for folks that can't get out there on their own. Mayor, thank you. That concludes the report this evening.
Very good. Anyone from the public wishing to speak on the COVID-19 update? All right. Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the council. I had a email sent, and I'm not sure, Leslie, if this went out to the town manager or not, but it was a particular lady talking about the Copper Mountain College vaccine. The other day I went to that website, and it looked like there were quite a few openings only a day or two down the road. So it looked like if you were 65 or older that you had an opportunity to go ahead and get the vaccine. But I guess her question was about getting the word out so that none of the vaccines would go to waste, and then also about the possibility of transportation. So I'll give this to the town manager. Maybe you can reach out to this lady and let her know that she may want to take advantage of that, or perhaps know when the updated vaccine location here in Yucca Valley would be. But it sounds like they'll move forward with a site right here at our senior center?
That's our understanding, in March sometime.
Okay, wonderful. All right, any other member comments? All right, so this is a receive and file, so thank you very much for that. And again, we're glad to see the county working hand in hand with the local communities. And Copper Mountain College, to have a location is not too bad for people who have transportation, and to have one right at our community senior center is fantastic. So we need to get our seniors vaccinated if that's what they choose to do as soon as possible. All right, we'll move on to future agenda items. I've had a constituent concerned about sidewalk vendors and the health issues as far as any of those vendors preparing food. So I don't know if staff could get back to me and let me know what our regulations are as far as sidewalk vendors, especially dealing with food, and the requirements, and then the enforcement. So that doesn't need to be an agenda item, but if we could get that back to me, I'd appreciate that.
Have we had any known problems? Has there been any report of a problem, health issue, or anything from the food vendors?
I'm not aware of that many. Obviously, they're out there at different times. Sometimes we know about them, sometimes we don't. But I think what we'll do is come back, provide a written update to the council, and then if it warrants further discussion, then we can take it at that time. All right.
And since it's not on the agenda, we can't go into much more detail than that, so I appreciate that. All right, seeing no other future agenda items, we'll move on to public comments. The town council takes this time to consider your comments on items of concern which are not on the agenda. When you're called to speak, please state your name and community of residence. You will have 3 minutes in which to speak. Make sure that you have 3 minutes. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in the forfeiture of your public comment privileges. Town council is prohibited by state law from taking actions or discussing items not on the printed agenda, but this is your opportunity to make some public comments or things you might be concerned about. So I know we have one gentleman who'd like to speak.
Mr. Flynn? Would
Yes,
you like to
Mr.
come up?
Flint, come on forward. Appreciate you being here tonight, sir. Nice seeing you again, sir.
I'm Mel Flint. I live on Paxton Road, just off Volduin Springs Road. And my mother-in-law's house is on Bonita Trail, just off of Yucca Trail, over that way. In April 2018, I contacted Action, and they professionally determined the best route for the sewer hookup to the street pipe for both houses. A year and a half ago, the street sewer pipe was put down Paxton Road, the stub-out pipe installed, and we were prepared to hook up. A year ago, the street sewer pipe was put down Bonita Trail, the stub-out pipe installed, and we were prepared to hook up. At Bonita, there are 2 mature Joshua trees within 10 feet of the pipe direction from the house to the installed stub-out pipe. At Paxton, there is 1 young Joshua tree within 10 feet of the pipe direction from the house to the installed stub pipe. There's no practical way to change the pipe direction now. When we built in 1972 at Paxton, the contractor doing the grading said there was a mature Joshua in the back that we could build around, great, and a small Joshua tree in front where the driveway was supposed to go. He asked if we should take it out, and we said we would not, even though it was only a foot or foot and a half high. We took care during the drought years and summers, and now 49 years later, it is healthy, about 7 feet high, a good addition to our yard with the driveway barely between the water meter and the tree. Last April, shortly after the Bonita street pipe was put in, we hooked up right away when we could. When finished, the 2 Joshua trees near the new pipe, we had no extra permits, no extra expensive arbor inspection, no expensive mitigation fees. And the trees, a year later, are doing very well. At Paxton, even though our street pipe and stub-out pipe were put in much earlier than Bonita, we are still waiting to hook up. That is not our choice. We were ready to do it any time after the street and the stub-out pipes were installed a year and a half ago. Now we find extra permits, expensive arborist inspection, expensive mitigation fees are all looking us in the face, even though Paxton was ready to hook up long before Bonita. It appears we are now will be charged with these fees, which even though we followed every rule, regulation, and law at the time we started. This looks to us as an ex post facto situation we are in while waiting for over a year for someone else to say we can hook up. 2 properties ready to hook up a year or more ago, one being treated differently from another because of decisions beyond our control. We hope we can get some relief from this situation, and we hope you can help us. Thank you.
Very good, thank you. Anyone else with any public comments tonight? Very good. I understand we're going to have a lot of these types of situations, Mr. Flint, in the future. This is just the beginning. And so, staff, do you have any recommendations?
I have just a couple of comments for the council. I was going to bring this up anyways under staff comments, just because it's an issue that staff is aware of. Staff shares those same frustrations that property owners have across this basin as they continue to try, and particularly in the town of Yucca Valley, as they try and comply with requirements that have been established long ago by a different state department, Department of Water Resources, Water Quality Control Board, in mandating that discharge be prohibited into the groundwater and necessitating a private party connection to a regional sewer system as the answer. As you know, the council adopted an ordinance implementing what's called 2084 regulation that provided some ability for the town to permit in limited conditions the take of a Joshua tree, whether it was required for an accessory structure or a sewer connection or a couple other defined situations. As we begin the implementation of that ordinance, we have come across a number of different situations already that, quite frankly, we're not very clear on how the state would like us to proceed. So we have posed those questions to the state, some very specifically, some more generically, and have yet to receive responses. So without going into too much more detail, I would just suggest that these frustrations will continue. I think it's important that this community know that this is not a regulation that is willingly being implemented or imposed upon town residents at the behest of the town council or any other policy direction of the town, other than complying with state regulation through the study period of the Western Joshua Tree. And that, again, was the result of a petition submitted by the Center for Biological Diversity in trying to have the Western Joshua Tree studied for future listing. So we'll continue to work with our partners at the state. We know that, again, we don't have easy answers. We understand that. We understand the frustrations that causes. And there may be some actions that result in questions going back to the different state agency, in this case, Water Quality Control Board, and asking the Water Quality Control Board, what am I to do? And so as we get additional information from the state, we'll certainly provide that to the council, and if there's policy direction that will change things for the residents, then that may occur. But at this point, we're still working through many of those implementation issues. So it's kind of a broad overview, Shane. I don't know if you have anything else at the technical level from what you're seeing out in the field as we begin implementation.
No, I think just for those individuals similar to Mr. and Mrs. Flint, and they won't be the only ones. The town cannot change the regulations that are in place today. They were enacted by the Fish and Game Commission, and in order for the town to be able to issue any permits, we have to follow those regulations. So we do understand the frustration. There are costs today that weren't there a year ago. There are processes today that weren't there a year ago. And as the town manager stated very clearly, this is the conflict of two state agencies, and they've put us, the town of Yucca Valley, as a regulatory agency, as well as property owners, between those two rocks in a hard spot. So unfortunately, we cannot change those regulations. And as Curtis said, there are many more of these that are occurring as the various plumbing companies are going through with connection proposals in different parts of town. Very, very complex and will be very expensive for some property owners.
All right, we'll continue with staff reports.
Thank you, Mayor. Wanted to just give I'm going to open it up here to the rest of the staff team as well, but I wanted to give the council a quick update that I think, knock on this table here, we're almost through any impacts, immediate impacts from our COVID issues that we had at the staff level. So maybe one or two that are currently just awaiting COVID protocol to come back to work, but ideally, we'll see the end to that pretty soon. So with that, I'll turn it over to the rest of the team. If you have any other updates, feel free to jump in here.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members. Lieutenant Walker and I are grateful to be back in front of you in the community in person. It's been a while. It's been a busy winter so far. Despite COVID restrictions, our Mongol Basin offers a lot of recreational opportunities for people. So we saw a lot of visitors. It's kept us busy. But one quick update to the incident we talked about during last council meeting was the rash of vehicle burglaries plaguing kind of the south end. Fortunately, that rash has come to an end. The investigation's still continuing, but I want to take that opportunity to remind folks that even though the burglaries have stopped, the potential is still there. So please be diligent, remove valuables from your cars, lock your doors, close your garage doors, and watch out for your neighbors. That's all I have. Thank you.
Planning Commission meeting is next Tuesday. They will be holding the hearing again on the Domino Jersey Mike's project. I don't know that the commission will be coming to an agreement with the architecture as proposed by the applicant. We'll see how that process goes. The town has not issued yet a Joshua Tree take permit under Ordinance 291, which matches the 2084 authorization is approved by the Fish and Game Commission. We do have several projects that have made submittals. Staff reviews their plans, kicks it back, they make revisions. That's going back and forth as they try and address the preservation and conservation of the Western Joshua Tree as best as they can. We do not believe we will have any take permits or collection of state mandated mitigation fees to report in our first bi-monthly report, which is March 15th of this year. That concludes my comments this evening.
Armando, you want to give a quick update on Yucca Trail? That'd be great.
Well, Yucca Trail, we have the weather conditions on Friday, delayed the project a little bit. It was programmed to finish the asphalt, and it was programmed to put some asphalt berms on Monday. So the next date that we can put the asphalt berm is potentially on the 25th. So the project is going to be, we received today the completion of the project to be March 3rd. So both projects are going to be completed by March 1st. That's the weather condition who's delaying the project.
Okay.
Sue, you have anything?
I just want to remind everyone that we're doing the park outreach sessions through the end of February. and then we'll be working on our park grant. So visit our website, yucca-valley.org. There's 3 ways to participate. The Park Talks, which we are having one this Saturday, the 20th at 10 a.m. via Zoom, and we'll recognize our Healthy Hearts participants and also have some great discussion and click voting and drawing for some really great prizes. You can also just complete the survey. Quick and easy, just takes a few minutes. Or you can complete a park planner kit. So all of those options available at yucca-valley.org, and just click on that recreation button and take you right to it.
Thank you, Sue. Tom, thanks for joining us today via remote. I didn't know if you had anything that you wanted to add this evening.
Sure, I'll make one brief comment that just has to do with the 2020 census data. All public agencies are required by law to take the 2020 census data and then redraw or make adjustments to the local district maps. And so we here in Yucca Valley will need to do the same thing with our maps. And normally that census data is released in April. And we would begin that process in just a few months. But the Census Bureau, just a few days ago in February, said that the data will be delayed until September 30th. So we still have to review the census data. We still have to make adjustments to the maps. But instead of starting in just a few months, we will start the process by the end of the year, more likely. So stay tuned on that, and I'll keep you posted as that progresses, and that's all I have.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that. And I see that San Bernardino County Fire Department has joined the meeting as well today. So Assistant Chief Tuttle, I don't know if you have anything for us this evening.
Yeah, good evening. Just one quick update. Our household hazardous waste facility has reopened. Some people may know that facility, our local facility is in Joshua Tree. It was closed for several months for some construction, and so that facility is back open again. And to make up for lost time, they're going to be open twice a month through the summer. So that'll be the first and third Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And that's household hazardous waste includes oil, paint, antifreeze, batteries, sharps, stuff like that. And for more information on what we accept and what we don't accept, they can go to our website. And that's all I have.
Thanks, Chief. Mayor, I think that concludes staff comments this evening. Thank you.
All right, very good. Do we know when when we're going to be having a community cleanup day, as far as what we've had in the past? Have we talked to Burtech about when they're planning on doing those?
No, we haven't talked to them recently, but I have a discussion with them next week. And so I'm going to bring it up because it is part of our new contract. We were hoping to have it in their new facility that they're building, just to make it a little bit easier than having to find a vacant lot that we then have to make sure not to mess up, basically. So I'm going to open that discussion with them next week, and I'll probably have some information for you pretty soon.
Okay, yeah, and I know with that contractual agreement, there's other programs that they're supposed to be providing.
Yeah.
So hopefully, when the new facility is built, we'll get the benefit of that new contract.
Definitely, I'm all over it.
Very good, thank you. I'm going to go out of order a little bit tonight, so bear with me, so be ready. I'm going to ask Councilmember Dennison to go ahead and begin. Any comments tonight?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So I just want to start off with Gigi and Mara's Christmas Wish, which used to be TLC. A lot of us older folks remember that, and the board for showing up this evening. I'll tell you, some big shoes to fill. What Mara had started and the enthusiasm from Gigi brought forth. I think there was a big change when she came here, and her desire to make sure that it continued. And that, along with Paul Hoffman and his structure and his dedication to just many charities, but this one in particular for us, his determination and structure, along with the commitment of Gigi and the entire board, really made it successful this year. Short order change, everything changed, but they pulled it off. And I wanted to reach out a little bit to Chief Tuttle right now, if he's still online, that Gigi made a lot of excellent comments about your crews, the firefighters in our community, the work they did, and the dedication was unwavered because of the changes that they had. They exceeded their goals for toys this year. They also showed up again to get the event ready. They jumped on board, and I was here watching them, and all the crews came out, and they were working with the community, running from car to car, making sure that those items got delivered appropriately for those families to enjoy a Christmas time. So thank you to the firefighters. Thank you to the complete board for Mara's Christmas Wish. That's a big thank you from me and the entire council and the entire town and the community. What a great team we have. And I look forward, you start to wonder when Gigi said that she's going to move a little bit away from this now, not be the leader. And so we'll look for some succession planning. And I remember we tried to get the same kind of download prior to Mara passing, that we could learn, how do you do this? How do we embed that commitment and that passion into those that volunteer? And they have a secret sauce of some kind, so we're going to figure it out. I want to say thank you. Armando spoke briefly on it. Yucca Trail and Palomar project, what a project. You know, that's the second busiest road in our entire valley, and they've kept that road open that I know of all the time. It's been a little slow sometimes, but I've seen all the people in the community, they're on their best behavior, the contractors are good, they're safe, they're working, so remember to slow down, let them get the job done. As staff had just said, we're now looking at March 3rd, because I know Friday wasn't a pretty day here, so I get it. Thanks to our police department and our fire, again, during these times, keeping our community safe. I read all your reports, I know what's going on out there, and I know that it's hard work, but every day you make our community a little bit safer, and thanks. It's a big job. I just want to say one thing about some of our contractors. Our utility companies out there, SCE and their contractors have been changing poles in our community. They've been doing rotating blackouts in our community, and they get in and they get out. These teams are well orchestrated. They're doing a good job in our communities. It is big disruption, but remember, our infrastructure in this community, some of it is very, very old, and I'm proud to say that they're making a commitment in our town to have their crews, their contract crews out here to make sure that our town's safe, that we have the power when we need it. So it's a big job. Help us. I know the weather's not been good. It's been a little cold, but they're going to get through every neighborhood and make sure that we're good. And I saw one great act of kindness just the other day from Burtek. There's an older neighbor that is kind of has to stay in his home, real steep driveway, doesn't like to go down. The collection day, the collection truck pulls up, and he'll walk up to the guy's side of his house, bring the can down, empty the can, and take it back. And I saw that. I thought at first it was just something different, but it's something that this operator does. And I mean, what a great act of kindness in our community. So I'm not going to say where or who or what, because I don't know if he's supposed to be doing that, but I really enjoy seeing that kind of personal service and buying into it. So thank you to all of our all the different companies that make our town work. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lombardo.
I always like listening to your comments, Councilman Dennison. Had a little humor in there.
Long-winded.
As well. And I'm just going to keep my comments real brief. Thank you to Gigi and the Mara's Christmas Wish thing is something that's gone on for so many years. I think I remember it in the late 80s. And she's touched a lot of lives. And when my kids were at home and we went and helped serve meals and prepare meals a couple of times for the Christmas Wish thing, and it really touches you to be part of that. It's a great program, and I hope that it continues, and look forward to whoever replaces Gigi. It's a big place, a big thing to step into, but I think they're more organized now, and they're actually keeping track of how they do it each year, whereas I think that was so hard. We tried for years to get Mara to write down what she did, because we would go there and you'd have to finish your task and then go ask her what to do next, because nobody else knew. But I think they're getting much more organized at it, and it's something definitely worth continuing. We always try to contribute every year to that, and we're not always in town, but we always contribute to try to help that continue on. And thank you to Captain Niles and our lieutenant for catching those car burglars in the south side there. Good detective work. And be safe out there. Apparently, there's a lot of gun-toting people nowadays, huh? That's always dangerous for you, so. But we appreciate your diligence and your vigilance, keeping us safe. The COVID situation has put a lot of stress on our services, and it's really rewarding to see how we have adapted and overcome the challenges with so many different programs. Very proud of everybody that's involved in that, our staff and our workers that pour more than just a job. You know, it's more than just a job. They're innovative and self-motivated and really making things happen for a community that appreciates their services. That's it for right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor Pro Tem Schooler.
Yes, I'd like to also thank Gigi for her leadership on Mara's Christmas Wish. That's a project that I've been pretty close to since it began way back, late 80s or early 90s there. And I know how difficult it is, and Mara did have everything kind of in her head, and it just had to come together, and it always seemed to come together. But I think turning a minus into a plus with the COVID situation, I think what I see in these slides that they showed tonight is it gave them an opportunity to reorganize and make a very effective program in spite of the restrictions, and maybe to make it so they could write it down how to do it again. And there is going to be a leadership void, but I think Gigi stepped up for 3 years. We all do these kinds of community involvement things for a season, and then somebody else has to step in. And so I'm sure they're going to find good leadership to carry it on. And I just like that it seems to be carrying on and improving, kind of like the recreation and community services report. That was great, thank you. But it's taking a minus and turning it into a plus, and rolling with the times and making things better. And it's not always comfortable, it's not always easy to do, but I think it's an opportunity to improve things. I like that the CDBG process is simple and streamlined, and I think we are doing the right thing to allocate that funding this time to Tri-Valley Little League. I'm anxious to see that park, the improvements to that park finish up, and would really like to see Tri-Valley Little League's program get rolling again real soon. Councilmember Dennison mentioned Burtec, and I had an experience with them. There were some issues in my district with the tax roll billing, and Burtec was very responsive, came out, Mike Vito came out and understood the neighborhood better and understood the issues, and was able to go back and resolve the issue personally, and it was a great experience, very responsive, and I thank Burtec for the responsiveness on that. Also like to thank Captain Niles and Lieutenant Walker for being with us this evening and actually meeting with the mayor and myself before the meeting and sharing the insights as to how it's all working lately with law enforcement. We haven't had those kinds of reports lately, and really valuable information, so thank you for that. And I think that's it for me.
All right, well, thank you. Tom, first of all, I'd like to thank you for your presentation last council meeting on the Brown Act. It was quite interesting and well presented. And it also was a real hit with our local press. So you got a lot of press on the Brown Act, Facebook and social media presentation. So I think that probably benefited a lot of other organizations in the community as they read that article on your presentation. So you did a great job, and thank you for that. I was a guest on the Yucca Valley TV, which is an online program that shows up on YouTube and so forth. It was a great honor to be able to be part of that. And if you've never been on Yucca Valley TV or gone to their site, they interview a lot of community members. And I learned a lot about our community just by watching some of their programming as they interview different people that have different influences in the community. Again, I invite you to, if you want to know everything about Yucca Valley, that's one resource that you could go to, Yucca Valley TV. I also wanted to remind our constituents, those that are watching online or those here in the building, again, as we were warned, do not remove live or even remove dead Joshua trees or trim any of those without contacting, if you're in the town limits, our town staff. We don't want you to get in trouble or fined with just not knowing what the new laws are and the new regulations. So even a dead Joshua tree or a tree that falls down during the windstorms or whatever, you do need to contact your local agency, which would be the town. And if you're in the unincorporated area, then you would need to get in touch with the Department of Fish and Game, as far as I know, before removing or disturbing a Joshua tree. So we want to make sure we let you know that, and that, again, that our staff is helpful in helping you navigate the process so that everybody is informed before making any decisions on a Joshua tree. I've asked our council member Droz to make his reports and comments and to close out tonight's meeting. So council member Droz.
Okay, I have a few things to talk about. First is I want to mention Tom, our town attorney. He has volunteered to train Copper Mountain College students that are in the Associated Students of Copper Mountain College Student Government in the Brown Act. So he will be doing that soon, so we'll figure out a date. So thank you, Tom. And Mr. Flint, I don't know if you remember, but I was your student in high school. You were my drafting teacher, and I teach drafting. That's one of the things I do at Copper Mountain College now. So that was in the late 70s, and Leslie might remember you too. So Leslie, so anyway, but if I recall, you're an expert marksman, correct? Very good. Well, it's nice seeing you, and I hope everything works out with your Joshua Tree issue. Anyway, and speaking of Yucca Valley High School, I want to close this out. I want to mention my 45-year friend, a really good friend, one of my best friends, Ben Costello, passed away last week. And he attended Yucca Valley High School. He probably lived in Yucca Valley or in the high desert for 50 years, much of that time in Yucca Valley and some in Joshua Tree. And he probably had Mr. Flint's class, or you might remember him. Leslie, probably remember, well, of course, you remember him. And I was looking at the high school yearbook the other day from my 10th grade year, and I was on the same page with Ben, but right next to Ben was Leslie's husband, Tyler, in 10th grade. So that was pretty cool. But how many people in here, show of hands, knew Ben Costello? I mean, there were a lot of people that knew him, and I know Bob, our videographer here, taking the videos of us, he's known Ben since high school, right? Since Ben was in high school. And Ben passed away last week, so really unfortunate. But Ben went through a lot of health challenges, and I really appreciate our mayor asking me if I would like to close the meeting in honor of Ben Costello. So I'm closing this meeting in honor of Ben Costello.